Are you thinking about going out this weekend? Are you thinking about messing around and finding out? Well, when you do mess around and find out, you may end up in jail, whether it be Hinds County, Rankin County, Madison County, or any of the little towns in between. And if you do, hey, look, I have a long and glorious history of messing around and finding out. And I wish I'd had a bail bondsman like Liberty Bail Bonds. If you end up in jail this weekend, get out of jail by calling 601-825-1077. That's Liberty Bail Bonds, serving Jackson and all surrounding areas. So if you mess around and you find out, call Liberty Bail Bonds and they'll bond you out. 601-825-1077. Unfiltered, no sugar added talk radio. You've tuned in to the free-range human show of choice, your daily dose of reality radio. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm live here in the ClayEdwardsShow.com studios with my good friend and yours, Mr. SHAUN YURTKURAN. Good morning, Sean.
Good morning, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Pretty good. So I saw you went to the concert last night. How'd that go?
Man, so we went and saw Train.
Yep.
And, you know, look, I thought this was going to be kind of one of those things where I was just appeasing the girlfriend. She likes Train. And I bought the tickets when they did that $25 all-in ticket buy you can do during the summer.
Yeah.
Man, I have to say it's one of the best concerts I've ever been to. Not that I'm the biggest Train song-for-song fan. The band was very tight. The songs stayed to – well, he blended in some covers with it and stuff. It was really, really well put together show. Their new guitar player is from Biloxi, Mississippi, which was kind of cool. Mm-hmm. And he was great. One of the best guitar solos I think I've ever heard. I mean, it's Hotel California. Yeah, you don't screw that up.
Yeah, right.
You know? But
you shouldn't, I guess.
Yeah, you shouldn't. And he just a great front man. People were throwing him their cell phones.
Yeah.
From like front row. He was popping selfies and throwing them back. Now, that may sound cheesy on the surface.
It's kind of cool, though. Actually, I can see that. Yeah,
but it's engaging, and you know that people dug that. And now they're going, what are they going to do with that selfie? They're going to put it all over social media, and they're going to promote Train for free.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, man, if you get front row at Train, you may get he may get your phone and take a selfie. And people care about that kind of stuff.
They do. And, like I told you this morning when I got here, I know who they were, but I didn't know a single song until you said. Then I knew every single song. The minute you said what songs they were, I was like, oh yeah, I remember those people. But I just didn't remember anything that they had sung just by their name.
Yep, really, really good band. Again, look, I'm going to go on a limb here. They're from San Francisco. I'm sure they're flaming libtards, so you should love them.
Yeah, it's that late '90s, early 2000s like pop rock that I didn't really like that much. I just wasn't into that music. Like you know what I'm talking about.
I was way more into Limp Bizkit and Kid Rock.
Me too. That's what I liked. I liked Limp Bizkit. I just actually watched an interview with Fred Durst and Bill Maher yesterday. It was really good. It was really good. It was really good.
Fred is way deeper than I think people will give him
credit
for. I know
he is. Because everybody just thinks he's this violent dude because he had all those altercations, with people over the years. And I loved Limp Bizkit for years. And that's kind of the music at that time that I was listening to. I wasn't listening to Train or we were talking about earlier Smash Mouth and Third Eye Blind. Those just poppy rock bands from that time.
Yep. Yeah. So I think country music just went through that same phase that pop rock was in that late 90s, early 2000s with a lot of these blue jean short country music, blue jean shorts, pickup trucks, cold beer country music.
Yeah.
Very, very put together.
It's
very systemically put together. All the songs sound the same. Went through the same thing with hair metal. Yeah. The end of the hair metal stuff towards 90, 91 before Nirvana hit. I think country music, getting off course a little bit here, country music is having its Nirvana moment right now. And what I mean by that is how Nirvana came in and ended hair metal.
It did. 91, Nevermind came out, and then that was the new era.
That was it, and then grunge came in, and it only ran for about 4 or 5 years, because at some point people get tired of overly depressing, overly real music. People get back to wanting to be happy, but I think that goes with the ebbs and flows of what's America going through, right?
Yeah, because in 91, that's when 92 is when we had a recession.
Yep.
And those things were going on. They came
in. The
Gulf War, and then Nirvana actually, and then it started kind of like a domino effect because then you had Pearl Jam come out and Soundgarden. Just all these amazing bands that I still think that 1991 to 95 era is maybe the best era in music history, and just in my opinion, other than the late 60s.
So, in very similar political environment as well.
Yeah, they're similar, but
and just like right now, so about
back to my country music analogy here about it being very much their Nirvana moment. Country music's been, let's just pretend it's the hair metal of the.
I see, like the 80s of country music.
Yeah, very manufactured, poppy, very radio friendly type stuff. And then boom, a guy like Zach Bryan.
Yeah,
comes in like a wrecking ball. It's just a dude with his guitar, and he's #1 album in the country again. Yeah. Just sold out an entire tour in advance, day one again. And now you start to see guys like the Oliver Anthony guy come out of nowhere. People want real music. I truly believe that they want to hear stuff that's real. I don't think people want to be happy right now. I think with the political climate, we can say what you will about the Ukraine war, your opinion on it or not, whether you think we should be there or not, or if we should be involved or whatever. That puts a lot of stress on people. There's a lot of political stress on people with the Trump, Biden.
I think that's a good point you're making about because everything's just such so polarized and angry and everything just so every news cycle we're watching is making us upset. It's not like nobody has like this feel good moment during the day ever when you turn on the news because it's always just all this vitriol. And that's a good point. I think that was happening to a certain extent at that point in 91, 92, but I don't know if it was to this extent.
We didn't have the social media then.
Yeah, so you couldn't see it all that was going on.
So I think you're seeing in countries the last 4 or 5 #1 albums have all been country. It's country's greatest #1 songs, the #1 album streak on the charts ever.
I've listened to this now. I've been starting to listen to it and like Oliver Anthony and all that stuff, and it's great. It's really good music. The last 10 or whatever, every time I turn on country music, I'm like, this stuff is horrible. Like this poppy junk that's got
Florida Georgia Line type stuff.
That's what I mean. I'm like, I can't listen to this. I was like, why do people even like this? Because I like old country music. I really get into that. I think it's really good stuff. But like all the stuff over the course, like since Garth Brooks, has just been this, pop mess. So
I think guys like Cody Jinks helped usher this in. Whiskey Myers, they're not country, they're more southern rock. But when you don't know what to call it, you call it country, right? Americana. That's kind of how the music business works. If we can't put a title on it, they got guitars. It's country. It's alt country. It's whatever. Well, the alt country has now become the mainstream country, and this will run for 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
And record labels are going to start signing everybody that sounds like this.
You're right.
It'll get saturated.
That's what happened in the '90s. Yeah. The same thing.
It'll get saturated, and it'll be rinse repeat. Then in 3 or 4 years, depending on where the world is at, people are going to want to feel happy music again. In comes the Daisy Dukes, Blue Jeans, and big hair, pretty girls, cold beer, pickup truck stuff again.
I hope rock music does this though, because I don't know about you, Clay, but I can't even name a modern rock band these days. Maybe 2 or 3, but I'm just kidding. But I just since 2005, I just can't really name anybody.
I can't either. I used to I had XM, and I would listen to some of the newer stuff, just so I could learn new bands. I think the last new band I learned, and I can't remember their name. I discovered one the other day that I'd never heard of. And I look and the song's like 10 years old, a band called Hammerfall.
Okay, yeah, I don't even know who that is.
It kind of sounds like a newer version of Iron Maiden, but I added it to my favorite
I'm going to check that out today.
I've been checking it out. It's like, I am the one who lost control. Just that big opera-esque rock metal kind of stuff. I love that anthemic type music. But anyway, I don't know. I just I said we weren't going to BS to open the show. We were going to jump straight into stuff. But man, you asked about that concert.
Yeah, it gets it goes into that. The only new person
I'll be at Three Doors Down, Candlebox.
I was
speaking of 90s bands, not Three Doors Down. I love those guys. I've had a great relationship with them since really dang near day one. Used to could call them up and get backstage for any show, and I don't have their contact numbers anymore.
Right.
I think they got different management and everything too. But their original manager, Kenny Vest from Biloxi, runs big. He's the big boss down there at Triad Communications, which owns 97.9 CPR and a cluster of radio stations. I am still friends with Kenny, but he's not their manager no more. Anyway, I digress. Candlebox. Yeah. Super duper excited about seeing Candlebox. And it's really just a Kevin Martin solo band because he's the only original member left. The singer.
Is he? Okay. I was asking somebody this last night. I couldn't remember who was still in the band.
So I brought them to Crazy 8 back in the early 2000s.
Okay.
And it was one of the best shows I've ever seen. Kevin Martin is a true rock star. And this is their last run.
Is it?
Okay, but there's going to be their last national tour.
Because how old is? I guess they're probably maybe not much older than us. I would think. Right?
They were very young when they broke. So he's early 50s.
Okay, that's
early 50s. They were like 17, 18. People don't realize this. When Candlebox broke with You and Far Behind and all those mega hits, they weren't even old enough to drink yet.
That was what 94 maybe. I'm going to say 94,
93,
93, 94. Yeah,
somewhere
around
in
that era.
Yeah. They were kind of towards the end of the grunge stuff. They got signed on the coattails of all that. But here we are, 30 years later, and they're one of the last bands standing.
Yeah.
He's one of the only lead singers still alive.
Because there's not many of them.
We've had that conversation.
Sure. Yeah, we've had it. I mean, they're just, they didn't make it. That era did not make it. I guess maybe that's the depression thing.
Yeah, well, it is. That was like real life people dealing with real life problems. Of course, everybody deals with real life problems. Yep. But, Lane Staley and Scott Weiland just passed. Forgot Stone Temple Pilots earlier than that.
Yeah. Sometimes, what's it called? And Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell, yeah. Let's take a call real quick. Yep. Hey, Nathan, you're on there.
What's going on, Clay and Yurt?
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
How's y'all's morning?
Good.
Pretty good.
What you got?
I thought y'all was going to play a little music for us. Anne-Marie wanted to tell y'all hello.
Hi.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
She wanted me to call. I was taking her to school.
I got you. Well,
y'all have a great day, man. Y'all be safe.
Y'all too. Stay blessed. Have a good day at school, sweetie.
All right, brother.
Thanks.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to all the kids out there in the cars. We appreciate y'all listening with your parents. I would have been mad as Hades if my parents made me listen to talk radio on the way to school. Put it on 94 Ticks. That's what I'd have been screaming. Put it on 94 Ticks, 98 Rock. Z106 back when they played New Rock.
When they played, is it? I haven't listened to Z106 in I don't know how many years. Do they play rock music anymore?
Well, they actually played the stuff we've been talking about this morning. Now, that's now classic rock, obviously.
Of course, that's even the '90s. I mean, because you think about it, if you were sitting when we were in high school, like in 1995, the stuff that was in the '60s was classic rock.
Yeah.
But that's about as far away as we are now to the '90s. We do like the same time difference, 30 years, pretty much. So
I want to circle back to the country thing real quick and put a button on this thing. So when hair metal got killed by Nirvana. And that's not really what happened. Hair metal killed itself by being so watered down. Nirvana was just the nail in the coffin. When that happened, I was not a fan of grunge music. That's when I turned into a big rap music fan. I went the complete other direction and became a big rap music fan.
Because that all came out at the same time. All of that. Yeah, pretty much
the same time. I leaned more in that direction because over in South Jackson, it was that was the culture.
Yeah.
More so over there than what was happening, like the grungy big city kind of deal. And anyway, but now I never got into this booty music. That's what this country music is. This version of country music is the booty music.
That's horrible
of
too.
Country. Yeah. It's like booty music rap.
Yeah.
It's booty music country. It's like your Luke Bryan's, and I don't dislike Luke Bryan. It's all fun. It's got a place. I'm just saying, and I ain't got none of it on my phone.
Right.
You know what I mean? Anyway. Now I'm super ready. And maybe it's just where I'm at in my life, but now I'm super ready for this real more, I don't like to use the word depressing, but comparatively speaking, this depressing reality music. That's what I want in my life right now. I don't want manufactured pop. I want real.
Some of the rap music lately I've noticed it's coming out. It's starting to get back to that roots. Just some things I've noticed.
Talking about rap?
Yeah.
Man, rap got so bad.
It did. It got terrible. I mean, it got horrible, but now I just noticed there's a little turn in it.
Look, I mean, I know I'm a 40-something-year-old Republican white guy talking about rap music, but if you know me, you know I love rap music, especially anything through about 2005, that crunk era, that Atlanta when the South really had its moment.
Sure.
And then after that, man, it slid downhill, and I haven't cared for. I wasn't a Kanye West fan. I wasn't really a 50 Cent fan. So really anything from like then on, I mean, they were all right, but they were like the last of the what I consider good.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe they just went through that whole era where everything became poppy.
And now everything's just mumble rap, like the Migos, which I actually have a few Migos tracks on my workout playlist. Some of their stuff's all right.
Some of it's not bad.
But then, they're the originators of the mumble rap. And then after that, it's just a bunch of watered down, questionable guys.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's take a break, come back. We're going to jump into some stuff, man. Up in Senatobia, Mississippi. 10-year-old black kid was arrested for peeing in a parking lot. Mom says it was racism, and they're trying to sue the city now. Let's talk about it. We'll be right back on 103.9 FM, WYAB. This is the Clay Edwards Show with SHAUN YURTKURAN.
Hey guys, Clay Edwards here.
I want to tell you real quick about RC Lawn Care. My buddy Richard Coley is going to be the guy you need to contact for all of your lawn maintenance needs. You can reach him at 601-502-3529. They offer roof to curb service, blowing off the roof, gutter cleaning, basic lawn care, including mow, trim, edge, and blow, full lawn cleanup, trash removal, garden supplies delivered, pine straw installs, driveway and sidewalk pressure washing. If grass is growing, you need RC Lawn Care Mowing. Again, 601-502-3529. Richard Coley at RC Lawn Care, proud sponsor of the Clay Edwards Show.
All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, get out to Martin's downtown tonight. It's steak night. Let's see who they got playing live real quick. Y'all got a promise from me. I'm going to try to keep these live reads a little shorter. But look, man, these things pay the bills. These things keep this train rolling down the track, these live reads. So, we got to be appreciative and make sure the message gets across for these businesses, too. So I did get your email complaint the other day, and I do appreciate constructive criticism. But at the same time, we got to make sure we get the message across. These guys break bread with us. We're going to break bread with them. Look, man, what's today? The 9th already?
Yep.
Well, tomorrow night at Martin's, you got Scott Levi Jones and the Holy Cow. That sounds like a blast. Tonight, Jesse Cotton Stone Band. That sounds like a great time. But look, get out there tonight. It's Martin's. It's ribeye steak night. And coming up soon, man, local favorites, national recording artists, very successful band, The Weeks, are doing their 10th anniversary tour. It'll be at Martin's, October 20th. Mark the date if you grew up a Weeks fan. And look, get out there. Let's see here. It's almost Fertile Ground. Oh, today's Fertile Ground Friday. Come out to Martin's today and get any Fertile Ground product. That's our local brewery right down there in Belhaven, Sean's favorite place. Other than Martin's.
Martin's number one, but I do love the beer at Fertile Ground. Yes. That's good. I mean, also Martin's on Sunday. It's the first NFL Sunday.
Yeah, and it's on this Fertile Ground. It's $5 a beer.
$5 a beer. Okay.
Check that out. And look, real quick, and I'm gonna move on. Today's lunch special is not fried catfish, fried chicken. Amen to that. Go get you some fried chicken today at Martin's downtown for lunch. Get out there. Come back tonight for dinner. And, of course, all their stuff's available for delivery. Check out martinsdowntownjxn.com. All right, Sean, let's jump straight in, man.
Yeah.
Let me cut this up. I'm going to let the news story, it's about 2 minutes, let them tell the story in full context, and then I'm going to give our opinions on it.
8-year-old Quantavious Eason's mother said he was put in the back of a police vehicle in charge. They want the arresting officer fired, among other demands.
Of course they do.
It's a shocking sight to see a 10-year-old in the back of a police car.
He was like, yeah, I got to arrest him. He just can't do that. He made my son get out the car, told my baby to put his hand behind his back, and they took him to the patrol car.
LaTanya Eason says on August 10th, she and her son Quantavious went to visit a lawyer's office. She says the business didn't have a public restroom. Quantavious relieved himself by his mother's car in the parking lot.
All right, so I want to paint a picture here. The parking lot is a city street.
Okay.
The parking lot's a city street.
And was seen by a Senatobia police officer.
I said, well, you know better. I said, don't let it happen again. So the officer was like, you handle it like a mom. Just make sure he don't do it again. He can get back in the car.
That's when Eason says 4 more officers showed up, including a lieutenant. And after some discussion, her son was put in the back of a police vehicle and charged with child in need of supervision.
You don't put my child in a cage. Would you have put your child in a cage? Would you have put a white child in
There it is. There it is. There's the racism.
Cage? If it had been a white child, you know what? He probably wouldn't even stopped.
I think about testing that theory. Anybody got a white 10-year-old I can borrow? We go to Senatobia, let them pee on the street.
That's right. Absolutely.
So I'm going to fight to the end. I'm going to fight to the end.
Quantavious was released the same day. Senatobia Police Chief Richard Chandler posted to Facebook 11 days later saying one officer is no longer employed and others will be disciplined. He went on to thank the public for their patience.
I don't know why these WLBT stories are jamming up at about the minute mark, but neither here nor there. I'm ready to give my opinion.
Sure, I bet you are. I've got one too. It might be different than yours though.
No, I want to scoot down here. What the actual charge was: the child in need of supervision.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't the parent be charged with that?
Man, I don't know. I've never prosecuted a parent on juvenile issues. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. Well, I don't know how that works.
So we're gonna pigtail off of this at the end of this. Batesville's supposed to start arresting parents for their children's crimes. But save your thoughts for that.
Man, I'm so glad I never had to work in juvenile. I hear it is. You know, it's a real mess.
Yeah.
It's a real pain. It's something dealing with that.
A crap show.
Yeah, I've heard some things, and it's apparently, you know, I think they have to have court like every day, and they deal with certain issues. It's apparently very difficult, and I've never done it and never plan on doing it. So just like handling divorces, like I don't want to do that either. Like I've heard how horrible that is. I don't want to do that.
You know, Dagwood texted in here and made a good point. It said, concerning the 10-year-old urinating, the TV report said his mother was in an attorney's office, an office without a public restroom.
That is strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like if your lawyer's office.
She left her kid in the car.
Did she? So was in the car?
That's the gist of this. She left her kid in the car and was for so long that he had to pee. I don't think the kid's at fault.
Man, me either. That's not, man, I think the cops went a little bit. I mean, you got to put the kid in the car. I'm not saying it's a lawsuit. I'm just saying it's a little stupid. The whole thing should have been like, hey, look.
Well, then they took him downtown and actually put him in a cell.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Look, I believe in discipline, and I believe that make an example. But you could have stunted a little, put him in the backseat of the car.
Yeah,
this is what can happen, kid.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking too.
Just
something like that.
And then I would have arrested his mama.
I mean, I would just tell everybody, like, hey, man, don't leave the kid in the car. He doesn't need to go. It's just not something that had to escalate to going to the station or whatever. It's just.
No, total overkill. But also, on the flip side, man, I'm a bit of a law and order guy. Every now and then, you in New Orleans, the one thing you will go to jail for is peeing on the side of a building.
Oh, that's true. Do you remember when they used to, like, handcuff people to poles on Bourbon Street and everybody would just, like, throw trash on them and kick them and all that when they were just waiting because they had to wait for the, like, whatever you want to call it, the paddy wagon to pick them up. That was I haven't seen that in years. But
let's get to the real meat of this, though.
Yeah,
the racism. It wouldn't have happened if it was a white kid. Let's just pretend for a second that's true.
Yeah.
Here's why I don't care. Because for the last 9 years, since Trump came down that golden escalator, folks have been screaming everything is racism. That's where it ratcheted up to these unbearable levels. And now I just don't care. You've cried about
the
everything.
boy that cried wolf example we always talk about.
Yeah, the boy that cried wolf, the mama that cried wolf here. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, like Chokwe talking about the garbage thing was racism for everybody voting against him.
Yeah.
Like that kind of stuff, yeah. I don't know whether the police did this because the kid was black or not. I just think the police were a little overzealous on it and I mean, they shouldn't have escalated to this level for a 10-year-old kid. I just don't think that was appropriate. But also, I don't think there's really a federal lawsuit. I don't know. This could have been handled. This is one of those things when people just do stupid stuff and everything gets escalated. When it could have just been like the cops say, son, don't pee on the sidewalk. Yep. If you do, one day you're going to grow up and go to the big house or something like that. And just do that and just everybody go home.
It's still not a lawsuit.
Huh?
It's still not a lawsuit.
I don't think so. But, Carlos Moore is known for filing things like this. So
yeah.
We'll see. Look, we should follow it and see what happens with it.
We're going to. I promise. We got a text in on the Guns and Gear text line from Scott. It says the CHINS Act, which is the child in need of protection, child in need of supervision. He said is no longer a law. It's been changed. The mother should have been charged with contributing to delinquency of a minor. But did you know that came off the books in Jackson too?
Is it?
Yeah, we caught a bunch of charges on that at the club one time. A bunch of trumped up charges when Melton was mayor and Gladney and all them were still on Vice.
Yeah.
And every time I say Gladney's name, I want to say bad things behind it. But rest in peace, Gladney. Uh-huh. That's as nice of anything as I'm gonna say. Did not like the guy, still don't. Anyway, we got to court. And the judge was like, these don't exist. I think it was like 20 of them in one night. They got thrown out. So anyway, it may exist. They may have brought it back. It may exist in other towns. In Jackson, it does not. Anyway, I digress. I say that a lot. I know. Somebody said it last night. I was like, he digresses too.
He digresses. I mean, I say right every 2 seconds, so I get it. You just don't really notice yourself until people say it.
So you hear somebody else say it.
Yeah.
He does that too. Anyway, Again, I don't care about the race angle of it. I'm tired of hearing about that stuff. But shifting gears a little.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the guy would have I don't know what is in the police officer's mind, obviously. But if he's overzealous enough to throw a kid in the car for peeing on the road, then I think race is probably irrelevant. He's just probably one of those. He's probably like that guy Farva in Super Troopers, kind of cop. Like, he's like, can I get a liter of cola? And he's like overzealous about everything. Like, he's probably one of those kinds of cops. I mean, those kinds of, look, I mean, I worked with cops for years. Those cops exist. Like, they do. I mean, I know we're super pro police and always will be, but those kinds of dudes are out there that are just like, I'm like, they're just overzealous. I mean, about it.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I get from the Byron Police Department.
I used to get that from, there's this one guy in Pearl that would pull me over all the time because he didn't think I had a seatbelt on. It happened like 3 times in a week. And I had, if like you see my car, it's a FJ Cruiser. You just can't see that I'm buckled in from the back. The back window is really small. But if anyone drives a Toyota, when you take the seatbelt out, it just blares, and you cannot turn that thing off, and it's just going to keep on going. So there's no way you're going to drive a Toyota without the seatbelt on. And I had to constantly convince this guy. One time I got out and I said, "Look, man, you drive the car without the seatbelt and see what happens." And he got in the car and drove it. He's like, "Yeah, man, it's kind of loud." I said, "That's what I've been saying." So there's overzealous police.
Look,
nothing but love for the poor police, by the way. I'm just saying this one particular officer was a little overzealous.
I mean, look, I about got into it with a Brandon cop one day over a parking spot at a gas station.
There you go.
He didn't like where I was parked, but I was not in a fire zone or anything. He wanted to park there, so he tapped on my window and told me I was a crappy, in another word, parker, and I was like, I had to woosah. Woosah.
That happened. That Shell station on High Street. I parked in a handicap by accident, and I was getting some coffee in the morning. This is like 10 years ago. And I come out, and this cop, JPD officer, he's a white JPD officer, stops me, and he says, "Sir, you can't park in this handicap spot." He's like, "Can I see your license?" And he sees it, and he reads my last name, and he says, "What country are you from?" I was like, "Sir, I'm from Turkey." He's like, "Well, in the United States, this is what..." I was like, "Oh, yes, sir." I tried to fake an accent and explain my car.
So here's my confusion. Okay, that lady said that this happened on a private property. That street don't look like private property to me if that was where it happened at in the video. But cops love to say that they can't do anything on private property unless the charges are pressed. So where I park at a gas station shouldn't be any of their concern. Where you park in a handicap, in theory, shouldn't be any of their concern. I got somebody backed into me in a parking lot one time, caused damage to my vehicle. I wanted a police report. They told me they couldn't do anything. It was between 2 private parties. So,
don't they have to come out there for that, for an accident, for a wreck?
I don't know.
I thought they do.
I don't know. I know we got a lot of cops listening. Let us know. Yeah. I'm confused.
If you kill somebody in your house, that's your private. They handle it then. Yeah. So I don't know, what.
Somebody steal something from me.
Yeah, that's all in private property. They still deal with that.
All right, let's take a break.
Maybe it's different.
When we come back, I want to jump into this. Batesville has a new law. They're going to start charging parents and kids with felonies. Kids who get charged with felonies, their parents are catching 1, 2. What do y'all think about that? That's sticky. I like it, but it's sticky. Let's come back. The Guns of Gear text line, by the way, 769-241-1944. The phone line, 601-879-0002. We'll be right back on The Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran. Into The Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, it's Friday night. It's the weekend. Get out to Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. Try one of their 12 different specialty pizzas or create your own. You can do the wheel of flavor, put 3 different specialty pizzas or 3 different custom pizzas all on one pie. But hey, look, man, they're more than just a pizza joint. They got 9 different frozen daiquiris on tap. They got a full-service bar. Get your daiquiris to go. Better yet, get them delivered. That's right, I said it. You can get your daiquiris delivered from Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. They got pasta, burgers, sides, appetizers, and more. Of course, live entertainment on the weekends. Open from 4 p.m. to midnight, so they slanging pies late. Slanging pies late. Check them out on Facebook, Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. And check them out on all major food delivery apps. Just Acme Pizza and Daiquiris. You know the name. It's right there at Fannin Mart on the red, right in front of the bowling alley. Again, open 7 days a week, 4 p.m. to midnight. So walk in there at 11:59. Tell them Clay sent you. All right. Let's read some Guns of Gear text real quick. put a button on the last segment before we jump into this next one. Again, Guns and Gear text line 769-241-1944. Unknown texter Carlos the Clown will be all over this. He will probably have a press conference today. He never misses an opportunity to chase a racism wolf. I believe the press conference was yesterday.
Yeah, I think he already did that.
Yeah, he wasted no time.
But to the rest of that, I completely agree. I mean, he's always involved in some stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's the one that Kingfisher's always calling.
Yeah, but he's kind of notorious in the legal community too for years. Everybody knows his reputation pretty well. So yeah,
a traditional ambulance chaser.
Well, yeah, and just these kinds of lawsuits, that are these kind of things you see, like this urination thing, and I mean, it's just there's a lot of he has. I'm not going to call them because I don't want to defame him or anything, but there's just a lot of interesting lawsuits. Yeah, and he's kind of well known for this. You know what I mean? That's what I mean.
I've seen his name in passing a few times.
Kind of like the guy Ben Crump that always shows up
at racism.
Yeah, he's kind of trying to do that in Mississippi. That's kind of what he does.
It's the same thing that guy's doing to handle the lawsuit over there. The guy from Texas that handled the lawsuit for the Goon Squad victims.
Yeah, I never heard of that. I know like Shabazz or somebody. Yeah. I don't know. I've never heard of him before. I assumed when the Goon Squad happened that Ben Crump was going to be in downtown Brandon, like standing next to the Confederate Memorial there or whatever. I mean, that's what I assumed that was going to be the prep, but he didn't show up.
Shabazz beat him to it.
Yeah, Shabazz. That's crazy because this is like that was some real. Ben would have been involved in some real stuff for once, instead of the stuff that he's usually involved in.
Very interesting. Yeah. All right, unknown texter. There are certain things Leo don't get involved with on private property, but 25 years on the job, I've seen it turn into a scapegoat for cops to be lazy. It's just easier to say it's private property, nothing we can do. Yeah,
there you go. That's good. I like that.
I like the most honest answer.
That is a great answer.
What is it? Occam's razor. Right?
Yeah,
the most likely outcome is the outcome. Unknown texter. This wasn't mentioned, but if my child needed to go to the bathroom, I would just have left and taken him to the bathroom and then come back to finish my business. This is just a bad parenting. A 10-year-old is a 4th to 5th grader at the most. I agree. To me, this is on the parent. Now, again, if the cops wanted to show up, and how the scared straight kind of thing, let me just set you in the back of the car, and this kid will never pee on the street again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you got mama fighting over this because she wasn't doing a good job. Now, look, my parents left me in the car a lot as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And
I peed on the street too. And we all have done that. How many times have we all done that?
But at the end of the day, look, I hate to say it. I mean, that falls on the parent when it's a 10-year-old kid.
Mm-hmm.
How
many times have you peed on the street as an adult and the cop stopped you, though? That's happened to me a couple times.
Man,
when I was in college, especially.
No, I haven't, believe it or not. I guess maybe because I didn't go to a traditional college town or anything like that. But man, there have been times. I have a small bladder. Overactive bladder.
Yeah.
So,
well, those bars, when I went to Ohio State, and those bars would get packed, and you'd sneak outside. And one time, I remember one night that just the police van pulled up right behind me, and I'm like, dang it. They didn't arrest me. They just told me off, scared me, and said, you can't do this anymore, and took my, beer, which I think was a Bud Light, actually, at the time. There you go.
Well, that explains a lot.
Yeah, there you go, right.
Remind me to talk about Bud Light later. Bill Gates has given Bud Light $100 million donation because it ain't like he really needed to buy into it.
Yeah, and the
NWO said they fell on the sword for us. We need to give them some money.
Speaking, I was talking to some friends of mine that were at the Garth Brooks concert, and they said that everybody was drinking Bud Light.
Oh yeah,
every person there was drinking. So he's talking he said there's all these country folks. They're all liars. Every one of them are drinking Bud Light, buying Bud Light. Probably did the best that night. So. Maybe they've gotten over it.
Paul says, I peed outside as a kid, too. However, at 10, I at least had enough sense to find a tree to get behind.
Good point. That's another thing, right?
Yeah, there's a lot
Go behind the building.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts to that deal. I just don't think what irks me was the racism part. I just don't believe that it was because the kid was black.
No, I mean, like I said, I don't know what but I think it was just like my initial example was, I just think it's like an overzealous cop. I mean, anybody that would do that, whether he was even, let's say he was a racist, right? Like, I'm not saying he is, but what if he was? It's still like a little ridiculous. You know what I mean?
It seems like the first cop, I mean, even though he stopped and said something, it seems like the first cop was in on just letting the kid go, just kind of teach him a little lesson, sit on the back seat for a second, show him the back of a cop car. Now with a mom like that, he's probably going to end up seeing the backseat of more cop cars because she's always going to say, my baby didn't do nothing.
Sure.
My baby wouldn't do he wouldn't steal no car. He just out on a joyride. They ain't nothing for him to do around here. What you want him to do?
Yeah.
Ain't nothing for my baby to do. You know, just like the 3 that got killed in that wreck the other day, just riding stolen Hyundai because it wasn't nothing for them babies to do.
I agree on the point of like, that she goes and gets a lawyer. It's teaching the kid like some bad stuff. She could have got on, and maybe she could have got on the news and said, "Hey, look, these cops acted ridiculous to my kid." I don't have a problem with that at all. Like saying that. That's because I think that one cop, whoever ones that did that, did act ridiculous, and apparently they're no longer with the department now.
Well, people want to hit the lawsuit lottery.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think this is something that really you need to go get Carlos Moore and sue the department for. I mean, it's just a little much. But
it's a stretch.
But this whole world is stupid.
And then,
so I don't know.
And then the police department fires one of them. But I'm assuming that had to be one of the ones that came up and made, probably the whoever was the commander. I guess when you roll up on the scene, it's for one of them, the supervisor.
Yeah,
I'm assuming the supervisor made the call to take the kid downtown or to the jailhouse, whatever. Again, we don't know both sides of the story, but the fact they fired one of the cop does suggest that mistakes were made.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you take a 10-year-old downtown, somebody made a mistake at that point. I don't think the 10-year-old was a danger to the community.
It feels like the better things they could be doing.
Yeah, like just look, kid, get your butt home. That's what they need to tell him. But that's all that needed to happen. Like the rest of it was a little bit. And the cop now feels like a moron. By the way, like God, I rather took a 10-year-old to jail. Like that just seems a little. I mean, when you feel stupid, you're like, God bless. Now it's all over the news and. I'm the guy that arrested a 10-year-old. You put that on your resume.
You know what we need? We need this cop on JPD.
Yeah, that's right. Farva, we'll call him. Put Farva on JPD.
We need this guy on JPD because there's a lot of peeing in the streets in Jackson, and I'd like to see it cleaned up.
Yeah, I wouldn't see. He would. You're right. He'd be perfect. Like on our drive over here on Medgar Evers in the morning.
Yeah.
Like there's all these dudes that are peeing on the street and they're like disorderly and making the whole place look bad. If he was, let's get this guy here. You're right. Good idea. Get him like a truck. He can just start loading these dudes up in the back of it.
You know how some say animal control?
Yeah.
I don't know, like JPD animal control. I hadn't seen one of those in a long time. But let's pretend they still have something like that, and we put PP Patrol.
Yeah, that's right, on the truck. And this dude he'll be happy. He'll be like, he'll be happy as heck because I mean that's what
public urination officer.
Just drive around town. He'll have everybody in the back of that truck bed.
Hey, did you see? And I'm going to get to this Batesville thing. We may have to push to the top of the second hour. Did you see so they passed the city budget in Jackson and they're bringing back park rangers?
No, I did not see that part. I just saw when they said we've made history, and I'm like, how by passing the budget?
They all voted on it. They all voted yes. Was the history?
That's
thing.
the history. Okay, yeah. I just saw the headline said we made history. I was like, what, by doing something? I mean, like, was that the?
I'm with you again. It feels like giving them a cookie for doing what they're supposed to do.
Well, I was like, well, thank you guys for being a legislative branch of city government and passing a budget. Like, a really, really, really cool. That's awesome.
I mean, let's be honest. The ceiling is very low in Jackson.
I mean, wow. Just can't believe that. I'm going to go home, and my property value just went up just because of that.
But I would say, all joking aside, I truly am excited to see them bring back the park ranger stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's actually going to be legit JPD officers. They really want to bring some guys out of retirement and put them in that position. They'll have arresting power and all that. I think that's good. Our parks have gone to hell in a handbasket around here. They become killing fields or in homeless fields. And I mean, the South Jackson, what's that park with the tennis courts there in North Jackson?
Palm Bridges.
The South Jackson Palm Bridges on Savannah Street there on Frontage Road. It's become a meth cooking homeless encampment.
Yeah.
JPD, where you at? I can fly a drone over there today and show it all to you. But anyway, I digress. It would be nice to see that crap start to be cleaned up. People need to be able to use these parks.
No, I know. I mean, one of my running jokes at the DA's office, you always reference I make, like, yep, that guy's going to end up in the back of a Buick at Battlefield Park. Because that's that's the way it looks, and it's a pretty park. I was voting when I lived downtown. I used to have to vote there, and it could be cleaned up. It's really nice looking if they did something with it. But
man, the only park that's taken care of in this city, to my knowledge, and again, there may be some others. I don't ride around like I used to. Is Palm Bridges in North Jackson?
Yeah,
with the walking trail and all that. It's maintenanced.
There's one on Ferris Street.
Smith Park is taken care of.
Yeah.
The one on Ferris Street.
The one on Ferris Street's nice.
It's nice. And I believe that's got to do more with community involvement than anything, because I think a lot of the black residents in Jackson really want Ferris Street to be beautiful.
Sure.
Like
sure.
it's a source of pride.
Yeah.
And I respect the hell out of that.
Yeah, me too, definitely.
Let's take a break, come back, land the plane for the first hour. This is the Clay Edwards Show with Shaun Yurtkuran.
Well then.
All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Shaun, let's read a few texts just to wrap up the hour here. I do appreciate people using the Guns and Gear text line. What a great way to communicate with our outside co-hosts on the show, the listeners. Steven says, shout out to Steven and his wife Ashley, good folks. Steven says, what about the public works director? Quit again. Yeah, Blaine. I talked about this yesterday morning, first segment. If you want to go back and listen to it on the podcast, I clipped it out. Quit again. Blamed it on mental health. Shaun, we got 30 seconds here. We'll end it with this. On the public works director, a national search committee, a national search firm that they paid $25,000 to found this guy. I believe they're accountable to find him another one. But here's the problem. I bet you the city of Pearl, I bet you they got, if their public works director quit today, I bet you he's got a number 2 or a number 3 that could jump in and learn the rest of that job real quick.
I'm pretty confident Jake runs that city well and has that set up that way. Choke on their hand, though.
We'll be right back. Welcome back in. It's hour 2 of the Realest Show on Radio, the free range human show of choice. This is the Clay Edwards Show. I'm, of course, Clay Edwards. We got Shaun Yurtkuran here in the studio. This segment is going to be brought to you by our friends over at Watchman Security Services. They've been in the business since 1977. The Knight family, right out there in Pearl, Mississippi. WatchmanSecure.com is how you can get in touch with them. They're a certified alarm.com installer for 15-plus years. Service provider, should I say. And look, man, if you need cameras inside, outside, doorbell cameras, remote gate access, anything you can dream of from a security standpoint, they can make happen. We can turn your home to the most secure home in the world. No, I'm not going to say that. Anyway, you need cameras, get them. You need security system, get it. Alarm.com certified. That's Nathan and Eric Knight with WatchmanSecure.com. They can do it all. Get off the Amazon cloud. Don't do all that stuff. Get in with Watchman Secure, locally owned, locally operated. They ain't listening to your conversations like Amazon. I'm getting a little bit deep there. My conspiracy theorist is coming out. But you get the point. Support local businesses. They support us. We appreciate WatchmanSecure.com. Watchman Security Services. All right, Shaun. I was going to cover the Batesville thing.
Yeah.
But I want to shift gears. Up in Batesville, they're going to start arresting parents and charging them with delinquency of a minor, the delinquency of a minor charge. If their kids catch a felony. Hell, I might as well read it now. The Batesville Police Department is issuing this is from WREG in North Mississippi. Batesville Police Department is issuing a warning to the parents of children who commit crimes. In a Facebook post made Thursday afternoon, the Batesville Police Department said that a group of children were going through neighborhoods checking door handles on vehicles at night. Batesville police say these children are burglarizing and stealing vehicles. They urge citizens to keep their vehicles locked at all times. The police department says if a child is arrested and charged with a crime, the child's parents will be charged in contributing to the delinquency of a minor or neglect of a child. Police say both the child and the child's parents will be charged with felonies. These crimes will not be tolerated, and suspects will be charged to the fullest extent of the law that the law allows, Batesville Police Chief Kerry Pittman said in a Facebook post. After reading it, I love it. I love it, and I think that needs to happen in Jackson if they can find the parents. I think if one of the parents is absent, they need to be charged as well. The parents that they live with, the absentee parent, if they can find them. And I think they all need to be charged with felonies and thrown in the Hinds County Detention Center. I love this. Shaun?
Sounds good to me, man. Just do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it. I don't have a whole lot of deep thought on this.
Yeah, me either. I mean, that's it. Just let's go. Whatever. We got to do it.
This is how you save Jackson. Start arresting the parents, too.
it'd be great. You know,
They out clubbing together anyway. Might as well jail together. All right.
well,
All right. Moving on. Man, let's take a call real quick
Yep.
here. The phone line's kind of melting. Hey, you're on there.
Hey, Clay, what's going on this morning? Damn,
Hey, Chris.
jet lag.
How you doing,
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Been out of state, been missing everything, so trying to get back in touch. I've been meaning to call about that 10-year-old up there.
Yeah.
10 years old should know better. I know grown men will just do that, just walk out there and see, because he's seeing whatever. Because if it's been my son at 10 years old, I went after the police, wouldn't have to got him. They just got me for getting on that. Because they should be showed and taught better. Because, I don't know, like I said, I want to know the story more, too. Was he trying to hide, or was he just standing out there and, right there and where everybody could see?
Yeah, and also the story's got some holes in it. Mama says she was inside and there wasn't a public restroom, but the kid was waiting outside. So how would they have known there wasn't a public restroom? Did he go inside and ask, could I use the bathroom, and was told no? And I can't imagine if Mama's at a lawyer's office.
Must have. That makes sense, right?
That if a lawyer would tell a kid, no, you can't use my bathroom, that don't make sense to me.
Well, anybody that's been a kid, they oh, yes, come on. But, and that's what I get sick too. Okay, he's 10 years old. Does he look like he's 16, 17? Does he look like he's 3 or 4?
They must have
at
asked
10
him.
years of age, he should have been taught to know better.
Sure.
Is my point, because 3, 4, 5 years old, and the people, but you get to a certain age point that, like you said, he could have went there and asked her. Mom should have had more responsibility. Hey, you need to use the bathroom. I might be in here for a few minutes.
Well, and to the point, how did they know the restroom wasn't public if the kid never went inside? I mean, that's how I get it. It says his kid was left in the car.
They had to know that. I mean,
right. Well, I've seen buildings that didn't have it, but a child come in, they'd make they would try to make accommodations to help out.
Well, I mean, yeah,
is a dire need.
If I'm in a lawyer's office, and clearly the mom likes lawyers, she's already in a lawyer's office when this happened. So I would tell that I would find another lawyer if I'm a client and the lawyer said my 10-year-old kid couldn't use the bathroom.
Yeah. Also, I mean, have you ever been to a lawyer's office that doesn't have a bathroom?
First of all, it's a public business.
I mean, and they're also full of, you would think there would be a bathroom.
If they're in a building like that, they have public restrooms. I do a lot of work in them buildings and all. They have open restrooms.
I mean, it may not quote unquote be open to the public, like somebody off the street can't come in and use it, but it's there for employees and guests.
And guests, thank you. Yeah,
I mean, you can't get a permit to open. You can't get an occupancy permit without a usable restroom.
Yeah, that's really
because a lot of those buildings you go in, I know especially around in Jacksonville, they're about closed down. You go in, they're not open to the public, but if you're in that building, you're in there for doing business.
Yeah, and I know we're getting in the weeds on this, but I think there's more to the story. I think this is a parenting issue.
Well, I've been hearing it for a couple of weeks, and I've been trying to get through to you to talk about it, just give my viewpoint. And I was going to let you know, too, that I don't know about what's going on, but 55 South and 20 West, right there where it merged, was a pretty good wreck a while ago, about 5-10 minutes ago. All
right, so there's a wreck there. A guy got ran over and killed there earlier this morning, too.
No, this just happened. I just come through there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was going to the break and everything, and I was just trying to cut. So it's been about 8-9 minutes now.
All right, cool. Chris, appreciate you, brother. Have a blessed weekend.
Y'all have a blessed y'all too. Be safe.
Bye. Yeah, Chris makes some great points there, as always. All right, look, shifting gears from that, I like the Batesville thing. The kid shouldn't have peed in the street, but I think it was excessive. I don't like the mama suing. There's multiple parts. I don't like her blaming it on race.
Yeah.
That's the part that gets the sand in my gears.
It's just the whole thing is, like I said earlier, it's so stupid.
It's a domino effect of stupidity.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. It's just so stupid.
All right, so, Sean, let's go national here, man. Let's play this real quick. Yep. I want to set this up. Guys, we are talking about presidential elections here. I know y'all are excited.
Within the margin of error, no clear leader. Donald Trump, 47%. Joe Biden, 46%. They're basically in a statistical tie. But what I will note was there was not a single poll conducted by CNN during the entire 2020 cycle in which Donald Trump got a higher share of the vote than Joe Biden did. So this is a vastly different picture from what we saw 4 years ago.
I want you to listen to this girl. This is CNN. Listen to the tone in her voice.
That is some very interesting context in all of this. What it means, we will see.
Where's the vitriol? Where's the vitriol? She goes, oh, that is very interesting context. So Trump's within the margin of victory. He's actually got the lead. They're going to blow Biden up. I don't mean kill Biden. I want to make sure I word that right. Secret Service, FBI.
You did not say that, right?
I'm just saying that they want to. I got you turned down. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I meant to turn down this one. They're going to nuke the Biden regime.
Well, I mean, I think, I texted you yesterday. I was at the office and I had CNN on about 4:00 when Jake Tapper's on, and he had I believe is the Biden re-elect chairman on, and the re-elect chairman was yelling at Tapper about this poll, saying, you guys have because this poll says a lot more than just what we heard. It talks about Democrats' preferences for president and their concerns about Biden's age, which have been going on for a long time. Everybody's super concerned about that. And anyway, so like the Biden campaign is obviously really mad about this, and they were fighting Jake Tapper, and he just pointed out, he's like, look, majority of Democrats do not want the president on the ticket because they have concerns that he's not mentally stable, that he's not, or mental acuity's down, that he's too old, and they would like somebody new. He said, that yes, voters feel that way about Donald Trump because they're relatively the same age, but it doesn't seem to affect him as much as it affects Biden. And I think that's probably because Biden just looks to be more frail than Trump. Looks so vigorous and he's running around like the crazy man he is, and Biden looks old. And so that's, perception's reality. That's what kind of world we live in. So I think that that's affected Biden where it's not hurting Trump. And Democrats are obviously concerned about this. And then
one's literally dementia-ridden, and the other's not.
Yeah, I mean, Trump seems to be, for him, I guess you would say,
got all his faculties.
Yeah, for as much as he can. Yes, I would agree with that part. But so Democrats want Biden, want an alternative Biden, and they don't have the alternative Biden. And then, of course, House Democrats are now upset about the administration's response to the Hunter Biden stuff. Like, that's been a big push. That was another part of the whole thing that was going on yesterday, was that House Democrats want, some explanation from the White House of what their strategy is on this. And so it seemed to me, what was interesting, that's why I was texting you about it yesterday, that the narrative starting to change on CNN. I noticed some articles in the New York Times where it's going to be like a slow, how do we get Biden off the ticket? That's kind of what because when the left starts attacking Biden, that's when they'll like him to. Now I was watching Morning Joe this morning, and of course they're not. They're defending because they're just all in. But yeah, just CNN doing it in New York Times. I think it's interesting that it shows me that there's a lot of Democrats. Well, obviously look at the poll numbers here, but this is talking about Democrats that they want them off. They want somebody else.
How is Kennedy polling?
Oh, it's like 1%. I think I saw that yesterday.
With the Democrats.
Yeah.
All right, so let's take him off the table, which I think he's a legitimate. I think if he's the guy, he's the guy. So we haven't heard from Kamala Harris in a while. So the Biden team is anchoring down.
First of all, let me say that our president has been an extraordinary leader who has accomplished things that previous presidents hoped and dreamed and promised they would do and did not achieve. So, yes, I see him every day. A substantial amount of time we spend together is in the Oval Office, where I see how his ability to understand issues and weave through complex issues in a way that no one else can to make smart and important decisions on behalf of the American people.
That's what they're going to try to push. That he's smart and capable and can understand complicated issues.
Well, what else? Think about it from their perspective. If you were his campaign team, what were you going to do? Say he's completely lost his mind. You're going to run with that. You're going to say, he's too old to do the job. He falls asleep during the day. You can't run with that. You got to come up with some front. You're talking about, it's not just the president. It's a lot of people's jobs. Also, they want him to,
that are doing a terrible job.
But regardless of what you think about that, you got to see what we're like. They're going to protect their jobs. They're going to be their administration. I get that. So they're not going to say that he can't handle it at this point. I think the problem is, Clay, we talked about this before, but in 2020, it was kind of thrown out to us that Biden was going to be this 4-year caretaker of the office and then hand it off to a new generation. Well, just like anything else, the Romans had a saying is power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Once you get the power, it's hard to give it up. You just I'm not going to be president. It's like those guys that say, I want to go spend more time with my family. Oh, you'd rather be dad than president. Right. That's not realistic. It's usually some kind of scandal or whatever the reason they're not running. But and here, the same thing. So if anybody really thought that Joe Biden was not going to run for re-election, they're a little crazy, because once he's there in the office, yeah, he's going to run for re-election.
Well, especially now that they've got to keep trying to cover up the crime stuff.
Or, I know from y'all's perspective, that would be one of the reasons. My perspective is just the power perspective. You're not going to, would you want to give up being president of the United States?
No, but I'm just saying that they especially can't now, because they may end up going to jail if they do.
Well, I mean, there's an investigation in that. I guess we'll see how that goes. But
the cover of today's New York Post, take that as you will, but
sure,
says no hiding this Biden scandal. 61% say Joe was involved in Hunter's biz. So.
I mean, there's smoke there, and it's going to lead where it's going to lead, man. I mean, that's where we'll see.
I brought this up on the show yesterday, maybe I brought it up on my live stream or something. But Joe and Hunter's nonsense is now starting to affect the Obamas. Like that's why Tucker had Larry Sinclair on. It's blowback for Christine Blasey Ford and what they did to Kavanaugh. That's the domino that fell. That we're just going to bring up nonsense that really doesn't matter to try to get political point. I mean, like this nasty stuff.
Sure, they
started it. I believe the Biden regime pushing people in this corruptness and this Hunter nonsense. People are like, all right, we're going to start. Other political elites are going to start getting shrapnel from this, and I believe that's happening to the Obamas. I believe it's going to happen to Clintons. I believe it's making the Democrats look bad. The guys got to go away because all credibility is being lost.
Well, I mean, and also if you're a Democrat, I think, or at least it's just if everybody's already on your side saying we want somebody else. It seems like that's kind of the way it needs to go because it means nobody's being enthusiastic to vote for him unless. And we were talking about this to break. The only Republican candidate in my mind, and the numbers bear out in this article, is that he can beat is Donald Trump. He's not going to be able to beat the other candidates that are running were they to get the nomination. Like his only chance is to beat Donald Trump, and I mean that's a heck of a bet. I'm not saying he's going to beat him. I'm just saying that's his only shot.
Yeah.
So I mean, and that's a heck of a bet. You're going to put your eggs on like, okay, we know it looks like Trump's going to be the nominee, and Biden, that's the only person could he beat. Well, could another Democrat beat him? Would you be safer with that Democrat? I mean, I think that's a chance willing to take. Look at this too. So he's going to be 82 by the time he's sworn into the next term if he's to be reelected. He'll be 86 by the time he finishes that term. And
at the pace he's sliding backwards, he ain't gonna make it, dog.
Yeah, I mean I think that's just something everybody needs to consider about where replacing him. But if you're going to replace him, now would be the time to do that.
All right, let's take a break, come back, and let's start looking at some options to replace him with. This is the Clay Edwards Show with SHAUN YURTKURAN. We'll be right back on 103.9 FM WYAB. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show, guys. Get out to Guns and Gear this weekend. For all your gun shopping needs, ammo needs, parts, accessories. They got it all right there on Highway 51 North in Gluckstadt, right there at Yandell Road. That's Guns and Gear. Hey, look, man, they're more than just a gun store. They're more than just the home of No Limit Ammo. They also offer Cerakoting and gunsmithing. Check them out. Go by there, just shoot the breeze with the guys. But, hey, look, also, they buy guns. Got one you need to get rid of, need some cash, want to trade one in? You can do it all at Guns and Gear. Check them out on Facebook. Follow them on social media. Make sure you see their deal of the day, Guns and Gear. MS.com is the website, and search Guns and Gear MS on Facebook or Facebook.com/GunsandGearMS. You'll find it all right there. They just celebrated their 7th year in business. Let me tell you something, brother. You don't do 7 years on accident. You don't do 7 years and not know what you're doing. You just don't do it. It don't work like that no more. People got too many options nowadays. You don't get to sit around for 7 years and not be good at what you do. Guns and Gear is great at what they do. Check them out. Tell them I sent you. All right, Sean, let's pick this back up.
Yep.
Let's just play the game of Biden's gone. Who do they run against? And let's just say it's Trump. He's leading all the polls. Yep. He's on all the ballots for now. Whatever. It's Trump for now. You made a great point during the break. I'm going to steal your thunder a little bit,
sure,
but I'm going to make sure I give you credit. You said you get rid of Biden, it solves a lot of problems. It makes the age, the dementia, the Hunter stuff, it just makes all that go away.
Yeah.
And if you run somebody young, if they lose, they lose. Worst case scenario, you got Trump for 4 years, and then then it's a clean slate on both sides, which I think both sides really want to get to. I really do. I think we want to. If Trump wins, all right, it's 4 years of Trump. It's the revenge tour. It's all that. But after that, it's got to get young.
Well, I mean, the thing about it too, if like so that's 4 more years of Trump. What does Trump being president do to Democrats? Fires them up for 4 years. You fire up your base 4 years, and 4 years from now, 5 years, whatever. But let's just say it's 2024. You run some young Democrat and kind of reset, and then you've got the fire behind you because you just had 4 years of Donald Trump to fire up your people. So, I mean, it's not really a bad outcome, even if they did lose, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree. Obviously, I agree because I want to win. But,
well, I mean, unless you're the people that are on the receiving end of Donald Trump's revenge tour, then I guess those people are not going to be very happy. I'm just thinking long term, it's not terrible.
Yeah. So, of course, I believe they want Gavin Newsom. You say y'all hate Gavin Newsom.
I'm telling you, I don't. We were talking about this earlier, right, one break. This thing when Biden won, it ran through with James Clyburn helped him in South Carolina in 2020, and that's kind of what propelled him. And Pete Buttigieg went out there, and I think he got like 2% of the vote or something like that. I can't remember.
So we're saying it ain't going to be a gay white man.
It's not going to be a gay white man. It's Gavin Newsom. I think is off-putting to a lot of people in the South. Southern blacks too. I think he just is. He's he's a kind of a very elitist. I always call him he's like the liberal Ted Cruz. He's just a shameless self-promoter. He's like the liberal Ted Cruz. That's the best way I can describe him. And so I don't think he's going to do that well. They've got some other people that you're not thinking about. There's Amy Klobuchar, who I've always liked a lot, and there's Gretchen Whitmer, which you guys hate. But I mean, they've got some people they could throw in there to run instead of Kamala. Elizabeth Warren could run, but she also did pretty poorly in South Carolina. And I don't know, maybe Bernie will make a comeback at 300 years old. You never know.
I mean, you mentioned Hillary on the phone last night.
Hillary is Hillary. The reason it may be a little different dynamic for Hillary this time. And Hillary gives you the thing. I mean, she's experienced. Can't deny that, whether you like her or not. And, people might be more fired up on the left to vote for her this time than they were in 2016 when nobody was fired up to vote for her. So I don't know. I mean, by the way, wouldn't we both just love it if that were the matchup?
Oh, yeah.
How much fun would that be?
I mean, you speak a lot about nothing motivates a Democrat more than Trump being on the ticket. Nothing and nobody. Nothing or nobody motivates a Republican to go vote more than a Clinton or an Obama.
Especially a Clinton, though. I think almost a Clinton almost motivates a Republican more than Obama does.
Sure.
Because Obama's got this. There's some Republicans I've always known that there's part of Obama you can like. You know what I mean? There's part of his personality.
Not really.
Well, maybe, okay, Clay, maybe not you, but he likes Obama. I'm kidding. He doesn't. Anyway, Hillary Clinton, though, to Republicans is like, I don't know, man, it's like kryptonite or something. It's just, they just hate her. And I think that you're right, like Trump and the way Trump does. So I think like Trump and it'd just be a mess. It'd be like a WWE match.
I mean, the debates were off the chain.
Oh man, when he brought the women that Bill used to that I had to respect that. I was like, that's a move. That's a good move. It's brutal, ruthless, but that's politics. You got to be that way.
When the camera shot to Bill and his eyes were poked all the other way out of his head. He didn't know, he didn't watch the news at all leading up to that. He didn't know it was going to happen. And they walked in and he was like, uh-oh.
Oh, man. That was, of course, it ended with the Access Hollywood tape and everybody thought Trump was done and then he wins. And, I don't know if you know the story, in the night when he won, of course, Trump didn't think he was going to win. I mean, he himself said that, didn't think he was going to win. And Melania was crying because she really didn't want to go to the White House and didn't really want him to win. I mean, it was a whole big mess of stuff that just happened that year.
I've never seen this video of Melania crying that she didn't want to go.
I've read it everywhere. I have not seen a video, though.
No, that's lies.
You think she wanted to be first lady? I don't think she did.
Yes.
I don't think she did.
Every woman wants to be first lady. Don't lie to yourself.
I don't think so. But I'm going to look it up.
I know it's going to be hard to convince people that think men can be women and women can be men that real women actually want to be first lady. Trust me, bro. Hot chicks that are married to powerful men want to be first lady.
You think she wanted to be first lady?
They all grew up wanting to be princesses and all that stuff. That trust me, they want to be first lady. Okay. They want to be first lady in Mississippi. If I ever become mayor of a town, somebody's going to be first lady of that town.
Well, I'll try to look for video. I just read it everywhere. I'm just like you have, I'm sure.
And I don't believe Trump said he didn't think he could win. Trump absolutely thought he could win.
I don't think he thought he was going to. I don't think anybody thought he was going to win.
He was packing out football stadiums and airports
in 2016.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think he thought he was going to win. I don't think anybody really, except for the only two people I heard that thought he was going to win during that whole time was Michael Moore, of all people, and Bill Maher. Well, the two people that said they thought he can win.
Well, just like them, they get one vote. Just like me, they get one vote. And a lot of us thought he could win.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm just saying, like, that's what I thought the general consensus was that, he thought he couldn't win it. Now I pulled up some articles where Melania says they were tears of joy.
Yeah.
Tears of joy. Okay.
Okay. Exactly. My
I
point
just pulled
exactly.
on. Tears of joy, not that she didn't want to go.
Yeah. So I mean, let's keep that. Let's keep it real here.
And then here's YouTube of Trump horrified and Melania sobbing on election night. So I don't know. I had to go through all this stuff.
So I remember all this specifically. I was in Houston at finance school when I had to do a absentee ballot, which was the easiest thing I've ever done. I walked into the Hinds County Courthouse at the time where I was living, and when it said, I'm going to be out of town, I need to vote, boom. I was like, I'm going to go out of town every time I need to vote because this is the easiest thing in the world. Should have done that again in 2020, but COVID, I don't think you could go to the courthouse because they were scared. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm just assuming. Anyway, who do you think? Who does? If you had to bet $100 today,
yeah,
$100, and if you win, you get $1,000. Who are you putting your money on? I know it's 10-1, right? Or is that 1-10? 101.
On what now? Putting my money on what now?
You know, never mind how much you get back. No. You bet $100 of your money.
Yeah.
I always mess up the gambling odds stuff. $100. What does your gut say?
On who's going to win between Trump and Hillary?
No. Oh. Who's the candidate for the Dems if it's not Joe Biden?
God, that's a tough one. Man, that is so tough.
Is it somebody in the peripheral now?
Yeah, I think so.
Or is it somebody we don't...
Yeah, I think it's. I mean, well, it could be any, but yeah, I don't think it's Kamala, and I don't think it's Gavin Newsom. I'm telling you that right now. I don't think either one of them are going to do. I think it's Gretchen Whitmer. If that's who I'd put my money on.
Really
I think it's
think
Gretchen.
So?
Yeah, that's who I'd put my money on, or Hillary. I mean, I know that sounds crazy. Whitmer or Hillary, I could see.
Are there no popular black Democrats?
I mean, Cory Booker tried to run, but he's just,
goofy.
Yeah, Spartacus. I know I was about to call him Spartacus too, because it's right. He is kind of he just comes across as ridiculous, and he's got a great backstory, but he's not, I think this is something that black Democrats had a problem with, like after Obama, because I know you guys don't like him and you think he's gay or whatever. Obama could talk. Obama was a great speaker. He was charismatic to our side, right? And
he's a good actor.
Okay, whatever you want to call him. But everybody else that's come after him has tried to mimic that. And it's just that they haven't been able to. Even white Democrats like Pete Buttigieg, I think, used to watch videos of Obama, because if you watch him and the way he speaks and the way he does things, he tries to sound exactly like Barack Obama. So I think Obama hurt a lot of this generation's Democrats, because he was so good at what he did in terms of being charismatic and speaking and that kind of stuff, that people just have not been able to live up to that. And somebody you brought up Cory Booker, and now everybody's joking about him being Spartacus, because I think he tried to go for that and he just went for it wrong. And it didn't. So now he's kind of out of the fray. I don't think he'll be a candidate this time. I mean, I'm sure he wants to be, but I don't think he will be.
I tell you, I can't believe these words are about to come out of my mouth. I tell you who I think is going to be a future candidate that's being groomed. Chokwe.
No,
I think they're grooming him
to be president.
I mean, what's the difference between running a city into a ground versus being a 2-year state legislature? I
guess you know what? Pete Buttigieg was mayor of South Bend in Indiana. Yeah. I mean, what's the Jackson's bigger than South Bend, isn't it?
Yeah, Trump was never a politician.
Yeah,
I think they're going to need a young hotshot black guy at some point that can talk. And I'll give Chokwe this: he can talk into circles. It doesn't make sense to me, but he's charismatic.
He is.
He checks off some boxes.
He does.
Again, I think he'll win. Well, of course, they cheat to win, so yeah, I do think he can. But legitimately, no. But neither here nor there. I think there's going to be a guy like Chokwe. They're going to have to start looking down those aisles. He's in good shape. Mm-hmm. He's a good-looking guy, regardless of what I think about him. I mean, I'm just being honest here. He's a good speaker. He's charismatic. He looks you in the eye when he talks to you. He's a good politician. Mm-hmm. Now, he's not good at what he does. He's not good at his job.
He's not good at doing the job of.
Yeah, but he stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
Yeah, exactly. He's not. I mean, God,
again,
I'll tell you
not this time around. Maybe 4 years, maybe 8 years, depending on what he does. Because I still think he's going to end up in Benny's seat.
Well, I think every black politician in the state of Mississippi says they're going to end up in Benny's seat. Haven't you heard that over the years? Every one of them tries to, and I'm sure that's an ambition of his.
Benny going to die in that seat.
Yeah, he's dying in that seat, right? Absolutely.
What's the old white lady in California's name?
Oh, Dianne Feinstein.
He's going to Dianne Feinstein, that thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason to. I think Benny's about 70 now, or maybe a little bit over than that. But he's going to die in that seat, and I think Chokwe.
He's also 400 pounds, so if he dies sooner rather than later, I think somebody like a Chokwe is who they look at.
Yeah, I think that's definitely one of Chokwe's ambitions. But I'll say this: I'll make a promise. You know, these actors always say, if so and so wins the presidency, I'm leaving. If Chokwe wins the presidency, I think me and you need to move. Let's just go. Let's find a condo in Belize or something, because we've talked enough crap about him for like a while.
Yeah,
we probably need to. We'd be on the revenge tour.
I'm getting deplatformed.
Yeah, we're done. Like, we have to go.
All right, let's take a break. Come back. We'll be right back with Shaun Yurtkuran on the Clay Edwards Show. All right, welcome back to the Clay Edwards Show. This segment brought to you by our friends right down there at Mercy House Teen Challenge Auto Center. You're out car shopping this weekend, get down to Crystal Springs. Great selection of quality pre-owned vehicles, specializing in the $10,000 to $20,000 range. You can shop them online, mercyhouseautocenter.com. And look, you got an old vehicle in your driveway, running or not. You want to donate it, get the tax write-off. If you got a clear title on the thing, give them a call. They'll come take it off your hands for you, and you get the tax write-off. And you can know that your donation is going to help put fathers back in homes and beat addiction as the money goes towards their Mercy House Teen Challenge. So, mercyhouseautocenter.com, located down in Crystal Springs, Mississippi. Good folks doing the Lord's work. Check them out when you can. All right, Shaun, let's shift gears.
Yep.
I love the Biden. I love the speculative talk. I do. We could do a radio show every day about that and have just as much passion and fun doing it.
Yep.
Going to be interesting to see. I guess let's close it with this. Mm. When do you think, or what is the Rubicon moment for eliminating? I keep saying eliminating.
Yeah, you know what it sounds like.
Yeah. I don't mean it like that.
Death,
for making Biden go away. Like what is it? Is it when the Hunter? They're supposed to, and the news broke the other day that Hunter is going to be charged again.
Yeah.
On this gun stuff and all that. Is it when that indictment comes down, they say this is just a line too far? You know, y'all tried to put in immunity in that last deal, forever immunity for anything you ever did previously, or could be charged with in the future for previous stuff. All these emails and stuff that are coming out, they just and him just silent, or do they have to 25th Amendment him?
Well, I think you'd have to do it soon. I don't know when the deadline is, by the way, off the top of my head.
Or do you just allow somebody to primary him?
Well, that's not going to happen, because that'd be a worse problem for him. If the last time I think that's happened was 1980.
Yeah.
And with the whole which weakened Carter, and of course many other things weakened Carter, but the Kennedy Carter primary fight was not good for the party. So I don't think that's going to happen. But I don't know when the deadline is. I'd have to look that up. But also, I think, just think about it this way, just logically, any candidate needs to start running now to raise money.
Yeah.
They need a lot of money. And, so they're going to have to start kicking it. I feel like they need to make a decision on this fairly shortly.
If he steps down, his money could be shifted to the PACs.
Yeah, I don't know why the procedures about that, how that work. Maybe you could donate. I don't know how that works.
Yeah, me either. I definitely, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Going to be interesting. I think it happens here in the next 30 to 60 days.
Yeah, because right now all you got on there is, you got Robert F. Kennedy and Marianne Williamson. And Marianne Williamson is a lunatic, by the way. I don't know if you ever listened to her speak, or I was watching her Bill Maher interview too. And she was crazy last time. It was kind of funny. She looks like one of those women that is reading from dark crystals and stuff, and the healing power of crystals. Just strange. And
got a salt lamp.
Yeah, just one of those kinds of women. And then RFK is not the Republicans love him, but he's not a serious candidate for the Democrats, so that's not going to happen either. And I think, so it's just I think, if somebody, I don't know when the filing deadline is, but I know that the money needs to be starting to be raised.
I'll tell you this, Kennedy could absolutely take the Black South.
That's an interesting point. I don't know. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Yeah.
If they decided to wrap their arms around him and say, you know what, we peel Trump voters away. I think you got a better chance of getting the Trump voter that's tired of Trump, but will vote for Trump over Biden or Kamala or any of that bunch. I think your best bet is a Kennedy. And then, of course, you're going to get the Democrats if he's the guy.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to go into their respective camps. But I think, that in-between voter, I think Kennedy versus Trump, I think it's a toss-up.
Yeah, I mean, it just that's not going to happen.
The black vote going to go with it's just my opinion.
Yeah,
looking historically at the black
I
vote.
see the point you're making. I'm not saying I'm just saying
Kennedy.
It's not,
What his dad did with black folks and just all that stuff and how much they loved his dad and his uncle. Man, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, I just I mean, I see. I'm not disputing your point. I just think that he's already kind of pegged.
But he's anti-vax and the government.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen. I mean, it's just not going to happen.
He's very pro-vax, and I mean, this has become an industrial complex. The vaccine industrial complex. So
he's also seen as the Republican running in the Democratic primary. To be honest with you, and that's why it's never going to happen. You know, that's kind of the way he's viewed.
Yeah, for the record, I'm not voting for a Kennedy.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that. I think it makes sense. If your goal is to win elections as a party, I think he could do it. If you say, all right, this is our guy, let's put the machine.
It'd be interesting.
I'd
tell you what. I mean, you made some good points. It'd be an interesting thing to see. The machine ain't gonna let that happen. So
no, because too much of the machine's tied to Pfizer and these other things.
And a million others. Yeah, it's just but it's just like Marianne Williamson's not going to be the nominee under any circumstances either.
Yeah, it's going to be one of these clone people that are just fall into line.
Yeah, I mean, just like y'all have on your side other than Trump, right? I mean, like there's a lot of clones there too.
Absolutely.
I mean that's just it's the same thing. It's a uniparty clone.
I mean, there was only one person on that stage that I wouldn't have had to hold my nose to vote for, and that would have been Vivek. I mean, I love DeSantis. I was going through some hats that I've got at the house last night looking for a hat to wear. Ended up not wearing one, neither here nor there. But one of our listeners down in Florida sent me a cool hat, and it was a Trump DeSantis 2024 hat.
Oh, yeah.
That somebody had made.
Sure, that's cool.
And I was like, how did we go from that being everybody's dream ticket to where we've gotten with this? What a difference a year makes.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you go back to January of this year and how popular Ron DeSantis was, because he just was coming off that huge election victory in Florida. I mean, he sweeped up Miami-Dade County. I can't remember what the margin was. It was just killed that Charlie Crist guy.
Yeah.
And it seems he had so much momentum. And then but this is what happens. Then he starts campaigning. Everybody's like, man, this guy really sucks at campaigning.
But he's really good at governing.
Yeah, he's very good at governing. He's very, very good governor in Florida.
I think he would be a very good president. I mean, I know all the New World Order globalist stuff aside, I think he would be a good president. But man, his messaging is not good.
It's just terrible. And but like you just said, he's very good at governing. Even Democrats loved him in Florida, Republicans. I mean, the guy did a good job over there.
Yeah, I mean, when the hurricanes hit Florida, man, he's on it.
Yeah,
I mean, he's clearly very good at what he does. But man, he should have waited. He should have waited 4 years.
Yeah, and now he's probably, I mean, you never say never. I mean, Nixon ran again, Reagan ran for president, I think 4 times. So who knows? You never know.
Somebody told me that somebody sent me a link. I didn't verify it, but that one of his super PACs dropped him and moved to Trump.
Did they? I mean, I could see. I mean, would you want to keep dumping money on him if you're? No, not at this point.
Not at this point. All right, let's take a break. Come back, land the plane for the day with Shaun Yurtkuran. This is the Clay Edwards Show. All right, welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. Hey, guys, as we get ready to land the plane for the day, I want to appreciate everybody listening this week. I thought we had a week of great shows. Get out, support these great sponsors this weekend. You know who they are. We appreciate all of their support. We got some new ones getting ready to come on board. And, hey, look, man, if you like what we do here, if you want to touch one of the most dependable audiences in Mississippi, in central Mississippi, may I encourage you to advertise here on WYAB and on the Clay Edwards Show in particular. Reach out to me, clay@wyab.com, or if you know my number, hit me up. If you know my Facebook, hit me up there, wherever. I'm very, very accessible. And let's see what we can do for you and your business. We've been very successful with some, and we've been very loyal to them. They've been very loyal to us. Let us help you grow and help keep us on the air here, and let us do what we do. I've enjoyed doing this, so would love to help you and your business. Hey, we also have some special event packages. Are you bringing a special event to town, a concert, a rodeo, a fundraiser, anything like that? Let's talk about marketing for that too. We can make it happen. All right, in closing, I want to get something off my chest real quick. Every time I think the city of Jackson can't screw something up any worse than they already have, hashtag Chalkways Jackson, they find a new way to surprise. Well, over the whole mass test score scandal in JPS, where they had to fire about 45 people or whatever the number was, they have now had to merge Whitten Middle School and Peoples Middle School into Peoples, not Whitten, Peoples. Now, I'm a Whitten alumni, Sean.
Okay. I figured it was one of those schools you were alumni of.
Yeah. So I'm very salty. If I was a Peoples alumni, I wouldn't care. Mm-hmm. Their school's still open. It's the newest of the two is why they built a new one.
Okay.
Whitten,
Peoples have been open, 30, 40 years?
Yeah. I mean, they've been open I don't know how long, but they've been open a long time. And Whitten is a South Jackson tradition. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. Just so many great people went through there. I mean, just people I know. I mean, nobody famous that I know of except me.
Right.
I'm kidding.
If you're on their Wikipedia site, notable alumni.
Yeah,
you should.
They're like, oh, God, he went here. All right, look, man. So that's Jackson going to Jackson. Sean, thank you for coming in, brother. Have a good weekend.
You too.
And I will be back here Monday. Check out my interview with country music sensation Brian Martin, singer of FAFO. It's on the podcast now. This will be available here in about 30 minutes. If you missed any of it, go back, listen, share it. See you tomorrow. See you Monday.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week as the Clay Edwards Show discusses all that is going on in and around the city of Jackson.
This concludes our broadcast day.
Right here on 103.9 WYAB.